When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make we talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, make we talk. Hey, we're living in a world that on ourselves.
Good evening, Senator Donna Scott-Mottley. How are you doing?
Good evening, Jeffrey. I'm fine, thanks. Long day. We had quite a little bit furor at the Senate today.
Yes.
The Senate was unusually rowdy.
Oh, Lord.
Very well behaved, but today was not so.
Yes. Because somebody called me and said to me, you should hear how somebody up in your family, whatever. And I said, listen, I don't want to hear it. I'm not going to be a part of that. Leave it alone. But I'm so happy I have you on now, Senator. I am so happy I have you on, because I think you use a very nice word, the assault on Jamaica's democracy and its constitution. That is on the People's National Party YouTube channel that, your press conference came upon that. And Jamaicans, we're faced with a problem in our country where the Minister of Justice decided to go and amend the Constitution to give the retirement age from 60 to 65, right, Senator?
Yes, that's correct. From 60 to 65, and in the case of the two sections which he amended, an option to go to 70. Okay.
So, Senator Donna Scott-Mottley made a press conference at the People's National Party, the opposition leader office, rather, and we want you to listen to this, to what she said. And believe you me, when I first heard about this, that what the goodly minister was doing, I was saying to myself, there goes our constitution. Let's listen to what Senator Donna Scott-Mottley said.
I watched an assault on democracy take place in our parliament. I ought not to have been surprised, because this government is always in a fight with the Constitution. Indeed, the tendency manifested itself from Andrew Holness was leader of the opposition when he sought to utilize pre-signed, undated letters of resignation to remove two of his senators. Connected. Of course, as you all know, he was the first prime minister to consider placing a chief justice on probation, thereby revealing that he does not understand how our parliamentary system is established, and a critical decision to have the separation of powers embedded in our parliamentary procedure and in our constitution. And I could go on and on. The leader of the party has already referenced the states of emergency and the way in which it has been abused by the government, who has chosen to use it as a crime-fighting tool. But yesterday, Section 96(1) of the Constitution, this supreme law, this Constitution, which when we are sworn into Parliament, we all swear to uphold, that was not demonstrated in the Parliament. You see, under Section 96(1), the section which was amended yesterday, when the extension of the tenure of the DPP is being considered, the Governor General on the recommendation of the Prime Minister, has to consult with the leader of the opposition. And it is after that consultation, which must be done before the DPP reaches the age of 60, after that consultation, the extension is granted. So historically, in 2020, the Director of Public Prosecutions turned 60, and quite appropriately, she applied for an extension. She applied for an extension of 5 years, and after the requisite consultation, an extension of 3 years was granted. Now, yesterday, the Minister of Justice, in a very scant address to the opening remark to the Parliament, explained to the country that this amendment was being brought to the Parliament because of an amendment to the Pensions Act of 2017. He tried to assume responsibility for this amendment, saying that it was intended really that the Ministry of Finance would do it, and seemed to have said that it was because of his diligence why he was bringing it to Parliament himself. But I say this: if you are the Minister of Justice, you have a greater responsibility than any other member of Parliament or member of Cabinet to lead by example in the way that you do matters.
For the interest of time, I'm going to stop this. And I need to, Senator, a lot of Jamaicans are trying to figure out what really went on in the Parliament. You're not hearing me? Oh, Lord, what's going on here? What on earth is going on here? Are you hearing me now? What on earth is going on here? Audio testing 1, 2, 3. Audio. Audio testing. Audio. Audio mic 1. Audio. Nothing at all? Oh, jeez, you. I'm not hearing you either. Senator, don't go anywhere. Stay where you are. Don't move. Do not move. Stay where you are. Audio testing 1. Mic 1. Audio. Yes. Audio testing. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? I don't know what is going on because she said she can't hear me. So, and we were hearing her fine a while ago. So I don't know what's going on. You were hearing this video and everything. I don't know what is going on. I'm gonna ask her to come back in and see if she can hear me because here she is. Okay, everyone said they're hearing me, but I'm still not hearing you now.
Oh, I'm hearing you.
Oh, I'm hearing you now.
Yes, very, very clearly.
Okay, good. Can you turn up your volume on your iPad?
Just one moment. I'm sorry. I am
Okay.
all of your listeners. This is.
They don't want us to talk this evening, but we're gonna talk.
Is it better?
Yes, it's more a little bit better. Yes.
Okay.
All right. You get just kind of pitch your voice a little bit louder for me to send it.
Oh, sir, I can do that. Yes.
Okay. So based on what we just heard you said, is it that obviously the Minister of Justice decided to go to Parliament and amend the Constitution any way they feel like?
Yes, that is exactly what happened. And I was deeply disappointed for many reasons. One is that I think Jamaica ought to be evolving as a democracy, not going backwards. And I think that the strength of a democracy is to involve the people in some of the decisions. So we have a constitutional reform committee. I happen to sit on it. And we have been mandated to reform the Constitution, to consult with the people, hear their views, and make some recommendations to the government as to how the Constitution should be amended.
Yes.
So it was really startling to see that you had a constitutional amendment being done. The Constitutional Reform Committee has been meeting like twice per week. We have had 17 meetings so far since we have been appointed at the end of March. And it was really shocking to see that the minister, the government, just simply went to the parliament without even saying to the committee that they intended to do this amendment. We have been consulting with the people have been speaking. One of the things that has come across very clearly is that the people want to be heard. They want to be heard. And this would have been a very good opportunity to show the people how much their participation is valued. But the minister just went to the parliament. Jeffrey, if you have any of your listeners who have watched the parliament,
I do watch the parliament, you know. And I saw what went on in the parliament when he was passing the bill. I saw everything. The Speaker of the House was like, the PNP can't sit down when I'm busy with them. Those are my words, the way how she was operating. You know, and I think if we have a democracy, we can't have a dictatorship. The last time I checked, Jamaica wasn't Vladimir Putin nor Xi Jinping China. Jamaica was a democracy. And what is going on in the parliament nowadays is as if Delroy Chuck, along with the Prime Minister, they can, and the Minister of National Security, they can go and do anything they feel like to do and get away with it.
And that is their attitude, actually. They feel that once you elect a government, the government is mandated to do whatever they want, and you should really stay out of it. In fact, because we have withheld our votes in the state of emergency, the very Senate, from the president, all the government senators have been protesting that the Senate is unelected and should get out of the way of the government. Now, when the framers of our Constitution were considering it, they decided that the senator should have what we could call a veto vote.
Yes.
That is to say, if there was no agreement on a particular acts being done in the parliament, the Senate could do something about it. But if there was general agreement, all they would need is just one senator to vote with them.
But Senator,
yes.
Senator, what I don't understand, in our Constitution, it says that the government is allowed to appoint 13 senators and the opposition 8.
Yes.
So if that is the case, at all times the government is going to have majority in the opposition and they're going to continue passing laws. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, let me explain this to you. And I'm very happy that you raised it at this point in time. Because Section 96, which is what they have amended, has the clause that they have amended is what we call ordinarily entrenched. So once you have a majority of the members, not just those who are present, but you have a majority of the members present and voting, they can pass the law. They can amend it. The other clauses, because you have about 8 clauses in 96, all of them are what we call entrenched clauses. And an entrenched clause means that the bill has to be laid on the table of the House for 3 months. After it is debated, it has to remain for 3 months before the Governor General can give his assent. Now, so this clause that deals with the extension of the tenure of the DPP is actually ordinarily entrenched. But the spirit of the Constitution and the spirit of all the other clauses speaks to the fact that there must be agreement. Remember, Jeffrey, that for the extension, which the DPP got, the Governor General had acted on the recommendation of the Prime Minister, but he had to consult with the opposition.
And they did not.
The Governor General did consult in 2020, and Ms. Llewellyn had applied for 5 years extension. That is to say, from 60 to 65. After the consultations took place, she was given an extension of 3 years. So what this rush is about is that she is supposed to demit office in September when she turns 63. And that is why this strategy has been used. Now, my concern is it takes a few months to be able to draft a bill and to take it through all of the different stages that it goes through. So they knew they were planning this for at least 3 months. There was ample time to speak to the opposition and to speak to the country, because we are in a process of constitutional reform, and this is a constitutional provision. And that's where I think that the government has demonstrated that they can't be trusted and that they really feel that they don't need people.
But, Senator, I see I'm going to drift a little bit, go back to just a thing that I saw. The American government is telling American citizens to leave Haiti. Leave Haiti because of whatever is going on there. Then if we, in this country of ours, have so much crime and violence, and we're playing with the constitution of the land, don't you think that we're going to have major anarchy in this country?
Well, I think it's a whole set of things happening. When they move to, for example, I'm using the word disenfranchise, the chair of the police federation. When they
Yes.
say they want to bring disciplinary proceedings against him because he has spoken out on behalf of the team that he leads and protesting the fact that the government has not honored its obligation to deal with the overtime. Remember that they had gone to court and the court had said by March 31st, the government ought to have some software in place where they could actually monitor the overtime of the police. They have not done so. And so the head of the federation spoke about it at a church service, the necessity to do that. And now he faces disciplinary proceedings. That to me, again, is a sign of an authoritarian, dictatorial regime. And the government is demonstrating that they have no regard for rights, for the Constitution, or for anything like that. So I think they need to remember that only 37% of people voted in the election. Only 37%. So there's a vast majority of persons out there who are not interested in the whole political situation. But those people might be the very people who will rise up in protest because they know what kind of government they want. They have not seen it. And that's why they stay away from the polls. It gets worse and worse every election cycle. But those are the people who will rise up and take a position against the authoritarian tendencies which we are seeing. Remember, you know, this is a situation where a young man, two of them, I think, said the most disgraceful things to the prime minister, using abusive language, using decent language. But that does not say that the police should be able to go into his house, take one out from underneath the bed, and show the other one, showing them the man's house, all of his interior, and showing him changing his clothes, telling him what to put on. These are tendencies which, when you have leaders who do not respect democracy and do not respect the people, the followers they lead are going to take advantage of the populace.
I have with us Luke George Cooke, who has just joined us. Luke, welcome to the program. We're speaking to Senator Donna Scott-Mottley about Jamaica, the assault on Jamaica's democracy and its constitution by the Andrew Holness administration, and for them to say to the DPP, and with all due respect, I thought the DPP would have said to them, you know what, I don't want it, you know, give it to somebody else. Is it that the DPP, with all due respect, is hiding something from the people of this country? Why she want to be a part of the Andrew Holness administration, who it is alleged that they're involved in so much corruption in this country? Luke George Cooke?
Look, Jeffrey, today I was driving past the camp, and as I looked and saw how beautiful the gates were and the buildings that are going up, it flashed in my mind, is it that this is a preparation for the dictator state, and maybe many of us Jamaicans will be going to the Red Wall very shortly if we say anything following the press release of that my friend Donna just spoke to about Rowan James, and I must commend him for the fortitude of testicular that he has demonstrated. I think we need to call for the removal of the Commissioner of Police. If he's prepared to muzzle, remember I'm driving, Jeffrey. If he's prepared to muzzle the men and women in the police force who wish to express the freedom to say what is on their mind, how they see it, and instead of looking at the perception that they're seeing and trying to bring about a solution to it, you are punishing poor Rowan, and I have never seen anything so draconian. The man has to get permission from the Governor General if he desires to travel. He has to make all of his contact information available, and if he chooses to relocate from where he's currently residing, he has to give that information. Now, isn't that an assault on democracy? In other words, this man is being treated as a prisoner of war. So I don't know what this government has to hide, but it is a dark day for Jamaicans who have fought for democracy and for freedom, and for an independent country where the citizens have the right to criticize their leaders without fear of persecution. This is persecution. And if people don't wake up and see, this is what the Wholeness Administration, the upper camp, this robust training and building and so forth, is gearing up to. It's a limit what we can say and do as a citizen of this country. And we all need, no matter what side you come from, whether you're green, orange, pink, or blue, we will not have it. We will not have it.
Yes. Senator, someone is asking in the chat room, and I was going to ask the same question. Based on what they did in Parliament, isn't a breach of the Jamaican Constitution? And can the people of this country take Delroy Chuck and the Wholeness Administration to court?
Well, let me tell you that the People's National Party sought legal advice. And the legal advice, because although we are lawyers, you know, the legal and so am I, we have several lawyers who are in the shadow cabinet. We do not advise ourselves. And we have gotten advice which suggests that we should challenge the action of the government, and we shall be going to court to have a declaration from the Constitutional Court as to whether or not what they did was right. You see, in the Senate, the government castigated us and said we were personalizing the issue of the DPP. In other words, we are calling her into question. But my position is it's not the opposition who has impugned her integrity. It is the government in the manner in which they have done this process. Because they could have had discussion on it. They have been planning it for some time. They could have engaged people on it, but they themselves were afraid of the response to their attempts. They know, Jeffrey, I just want to make this last point. Under Section 96(1) of the Constitution, you can only get one extension. You can't go back for another extension. And they know that the extension which the DPP got in 2020, she could not get a second one. So this is a way in which to circumvent the Constitution and to override what the Governor General did, because the Governor General was asked, the application was for 5 years, and the Governor General decided to give 3. So it is even greater than what we are seeing, because they have decided to override the Governor General's response and decision.
My God. I'm stunned. They override.
Yes, because the Governor General, after the consultation, the Governor General gave an extension of 3 years. What they want now is to take the tenure to 65 in the first instance. She had asked for it to be taken to 65, and she was given until 63. They are now trying to take it to 65 and give her the opportunity to serve until she's 70. So the DPP, it has been director of the public prosecutions for 15 years now. The longest serving Director of Public Prosecutions, and they want the opportunity to give her 22 years.
So, Senator Scott-Mottley, sit and look into this. Don't you think that something is wrong somewhere? Why the government want the current DPP to stay in there so long? She served 15 glorious years of her life serving this beloved country of ours. So you're saying that there's nobody, well, she's saying that there's nobody within her organization fit to become the next DPP?
That is exactly what she's saying. Because obviously, she's of the view that she is, well, the only competent person. Listen, I am not challenging her competence. I'm not challenging her commitment. But I'm challenging the way in which the government has acted, which leads to suspicion. It is a government's action that makes you say, no, man, something must be up. Why would they do this? Why would they hide and do this? Because they have waited for the very last sitting before we go on break. It clouds this very important office with suspicion. So everything that she does now will be scrutinized by the public. And I think that that is wrong. It's a very important constitutional position. She has enormous powers. She is really accountable to no one. And it is not right that because of the government's actions, we should be having this conversation. But let me say this, because I see Lucas wants to come in. Today, something even further happened. A senior deputy director wrote a letter to the Prime Minister.
A copy of it.
You saw the copy? Did you see it? Right. And so the whole is like a big cascade about this very important office. The DPP responded in 6 pages, pointing out really, I think, maligning the senior. Yes. Did you see that one?
Yes.
Right. And so the whole thing has descended into a situation which I think is totally untenable.
Senator Luke, I'm not Luke coming now, but I have to make this point. You know something? When I look on what is going on in Israel, where Benjamin Netanyahu decided that he must have more power than the Supreme Court, what the people of Israel did, they're on the streets in Israel right now. I am not saying that we should do that. But what I'm saying, at least do something. We cannot continue like this as a people. And we're talking about a 2030 vision. We're talking about amending a constitution. We're facing a problem in this country. Go ahead.
I agree with you. And I think people, you see, everything we do, we look at it in a partisan way. And so my appeal is to the well-thinking citizens of this country who love this country, who have remained here, who want to serve, who, as you say, this is a place that they want to work, they want to live, they want to grow their families. This is their home. And I'm just asking them, those independent-minded persons, to analyze what has happened over the last few years and decide if they are satisfied with the direction of the administration is going.
Jeffrey?
First, to put a Chief Justice on probation.
And that was totally disrespectful. Look, George.
Jeffrey, amateur leadership, malicious leadership, vindictive leadership. The country needs to come out of the PNP and JLP mode and get into save Jamaica mode. We are descending into an abyss, Jeffrey. There is nobody guiding the ship. We got power, but we didn't know what to do with it. Now it has mad us, and we are going to wreck this country. There is absolutely nothing that is assuring the Jamaican people that the government that is currently in power, and nobody is talking about it along the line of PNP. Whether it's diplomatical row, you have Ambassador Ward, wealth of experience, Aluna Samba, to the Foreign Affairs Minister. I'm sorry that her father died, a great statesman, and Burchell Whiteman. You don't see them pulling it. Now, in terms of the legal ramblings that you're seeing with the DPP, you're seeing with Rowan James, nobody seems to be giving guidance to this political party. If I don't like them, I'm going to come after them with my blazing gun. And once I come after them, I'm going to make sure that I send a strong message across. And this is returning us to the day of the one-done system. And we're not supposed to be looking back, Jeffrey. We're supposed to be looking forward ahead. Look here, Jamaicans. If Jamaica go down and we treat Jamaica as a business and we're all director, we cannot sit on the side and allow these things to happen. We have to question, we have to get into our groups and question the actions that the government is currently portraying, and we have to get advice, as Senator says, as to what it is that we want. We want to see a country that is going to prosper, and we had hoped that this administration under Jamaica Young Prime Minister would have delivered on some of the promises that he made to the Jamaican people. Term limit, a constitution reform that would reflect the will and wish of the Jamaican people. The country would prosper under the oldest administration. We would bring down crime significantly, and we could go back to the days when we're sleeping with our doors. We would have men and women, finally, who have the integrity and the accountability to lead this country and put country above gain. All of that has been a lie. You can look at it for yourself. It is staring you in your face. And all we are seeing is chaos after chaos. And we, the people, must take a stand. We must take a stand. If we don't stand up now, Jeffrey, it plans to get much worse. As I said, I passed the upper camp. I looked at the gate. It is so sophisticated. And I asked God, is that where we are going to end up in this country if we stand up against this ruthless, careless government? How much more can the people take? 37%? But we need people to understand it's not about the 30%. It is about preserving Jamaica for the generation to come. If you look at the debt itself, it is something that we should be quite worried about. And this government is taking more loans, and they are and when you look at the report that came out about those contracts that were awarded and the amount of money that we can't account for, by the time we are done, we're going to need 2 leaves, one to hold up in the front of her and one behind us, because is Alibaba and the Fatty Thief. They're having a field day. They're having a field day.
I want you to come in. I'm gonna read something here.
Yes.
That was presented to me by somebody who both all of us know on this platform. A distinguished man of Jamaica, a well-known diplomat.
Yes.
And it was sent to Corporal Rowan James too. It read, take further notice that in keeping with the regulation 35.5 of the Police Service Regulation of 1961, you are not to leave the island of Jamaica without permission from the Governor General of Jamaica. Any application to leave this island must be made to the Senior Superintendent of Police in charge of Kingston West Division no later than 2 months before your intended date of leaving.
That's like being put in prison camp.
So you're
concentration.
So you're saying to me, Senator, we came here to talk about the Constitution. Still talking about the Constitution.
We're still talking about rights.
Right.
We're talking about rights.
Because breaching Corporal Rowan James' fundamental rights as a Jamaican citizen.
Yes.
It cannot be that an 18-something regulation of the Police Service Commission is gonna tell a Jamaican citizen who speak out for the fundamental rights of his fellow colleagues and fellow Jamaicans.
But Jeffrey, you know what is disturbing? As you say, those regulations have been in place since time immemorial. We have seen many police in that position come out against the government. That is not unusual. So why revive it and invoke it now? Why has no other administration done that? Except now, this Andrew Holness administration, who wants to muzzle people and to take away the rights of the people. There is a legislation which is going to come out, the Bail Act. And in the Bail Act, you're going to find provisions that also concern you. Because what it does is that it is now going to give the right to a police officer, what they call a deciding official. And if they suspect you, Jeffrey, of committing a crime, not that they don't have enough evidence to say you have to put you before the court and charge you, they can ask you to surrender into custody. And they can put you on bail. That is what we call pre-charge bail. And you can be on pre-charge bail for 6 months. Curfew, surrender passport, all kinds of things. There are no limits on what they can ask from you. But you have not been charged with an offense. You have not been charged. That means that the police only suspect you. You understand what I'm saying? This is going to be in the new Bail Act.
Again, Jeffrey, as I passed the upper camp, I looked over and said, is this where many of us are going to be going? Because the dictatorship have started. People pay attention.
Hold on, Elu. Is it that the Prime Minister of Jamaica? These are my words. These are not Senator Donna Scott-Mottley words, nor Luke George words. These are my words. Is it that the current Prime Minister, the current administration is upset same way when the Michael Manley administration put some of them in upper camp? Is it that they're trying to do it all over again?
It's very interesting you should say that, because that came up in the debate today. And
I wasn't watching the debate. I didn't get the chance to watch it.
And the former speaker, Honorable Pernell Chance, was actually a guest in the Senate today. But I want to point this out. Well, he came to listen to Senator Shireen Golden Campbell, who was represented in the State of the Nation. But I want to say this. This same Minister of Justice, just 2 days ago, called for mandatory wills. Mandatory wills. He said that every single Jamaican should be forced to make a will.
Should be forced to do what?
Make a will. That every single Jamaican, it must be mandatory that they have a will. We have an Intestate Estates Act, which determines how property must be divided amongst beneficiaries if somebody dies without leaving a will. No, the Justice Minister wants mandatory will making. So I wondered, if I didn't make my will and they found out when I died, if they would exhume my body and give me a mandatory fine. Because it is so ridiculous.
But
they want mandatory, they have mandatory 15 years for if you have possession of firearm. And that we will talk about on another occasion. Because what I have seen demonstrated is that where there are circumstances that somebody should be charged, and there's one circumstance that I feel the person should have been put before the court, you just don't hear anything more about it. Right now in the parliament, we are debating mandatory 20 years for a child convicted of murder. And there are times when a child deserves to be sentenced for some of these heinous crimes which are committed. But I ask the question, so if it is that a mother and a father are fighting, and say the father is hurting the mother, and he steps in and brings a knife into play, trying to defend his mother, and his father dies, you are telling me that a child is deserving 70 years mandatory? So the judge can't look in the circumstances and say, no, this this one does not deserve to go to jail for 20 years. So they're doing that. They're doing mandatory 40 or 50 years for murder, full stop. And I ask myself, if what they intend to do is instead of houses, we all have jail. Because for them, everything is mandatory imprisonment.
But I wish.
They ask for mandatory DNA. Rowan Park, Member of Parliament, in his presentation last year, says that there should be mandatory DNA. So the word mandatory has become so normalized to the government that we need to stop and take some accounts.
Is it that they're asking for mandatory this and mandatory that and mandatory sentence? Why they don't want the DPP to go? Is it that there are certain things underneath the surface is bubbling? Because is what? Is what? It's three. How much public officials and investigation against Senator?
We are told that there are 6 parliamentarians who are under investigation for illicit enrichment.
So is it that they're putting back the DPP there, that when the Auditor General comes out, the DPP will say, oh no, that's nothing there at all, you know.
Well,
Because,
Jeffrey,
go ahead.
no, I'm saying that the fact that we are having this conversation any at all and raising suspicions about the Director of Public Prosecutions is what is unfortunate. But the government has caused it because what they have done is so unusual, so duplicitous, so deceptive, by hiding it from everybody until the last moment, that people have a right to say, but what is this? What is going on? And it's unseemly, in my view, that we should be having these conversations and speculations, which everybody is speculating, Jeffrey. Everybody's trying to figure out why have they done it like this. Everybody's speculating, and that to me is very distasteful, and it's the government that has caused us to do this.
But you know, as what people are saying, and I got numerous calls today, and what people are saying to me is, if the DPP have any morals, and I said don't go down that road, but I said Jeffrey, we have to. If she have reached the age of retirement, why are you asking for more? Is it that Minister Chuck told her to ask for more? Is it that something is going to come out of the SSL saga? Why they're pushing the DPP to go on, to stay on some more times? What is going on? The people of Jamaica must get an answer. And if the DPP if she truly loves this country, Madam DPP, step down, man. You reach the age, step down. Do not take it. Something that smell good. It smell like Riverton Dump, Senator.
Well, let me put it this way. When they sought to put, I forget his title, he's now Ambassador Rocky Mead.
Oh.
When he left the army and they wanted to appoint him as cabinet secretary, and we pointed out that he did not qualify. That was a position to go to a civil servant. And Ambassador Rocky Mead had never been a civil servant. Ambassador declined the position. And he continues to make very valuable service in this country, but he declined the position because he didn't want to bring any controversy to the position of cabinet secretary. So we do have precedents for how people ought to approach a situation like this.
So Senator, why never decline when they asked him to sit on the Constitution Committee, considering he doesn't like the Charter of Rights?
I will say,
You see, you know, I love it. I love it with all my heart, Senator. Ambassador Rakimid, owed this country a lot. He sat there when the Tivoli incursion, and he has done some things that are, in my mind, alarming. I've never seen the army until the advent of Rakimid, and there are so many dissension that senior officers in there were very disappointed. And subsequently, he has gone on to demonstrate that he was in the wholeness cabinet all along, because he and this prime minister enjoyed the best of friends. The first I've ever seen that a joint chief of staff had such a comfortable relationship with a prime minister, so much so that even the soldiers themselves were disturbed by it. Jeffrey, the Paula Llewellyn, like many politicians, will go on. She herself have a dictatorial sort of leadership style, and she feels as if she is the best thing that has happened, while many people have questioned a number of situations that has come out of the DPP office, again as immature and has not been dealt with, done in a particular way that is pleasing to us as citizens. The truth of the matter is that you have those public servants who believe that they have to die in the positions that they hold, and that is when you know how power hungry they are. It is never about the country, it's about the pomp and pageantry and the revenge that they can exact on people who disagree with them. Every time I look at this government, I remember the story of the 1938 of the creation of the police force, and how men at that time joined the police force to carry out the revenge on persons that they had disagreement with. The truth of the matter, though, Jeffrey, the Jamaican home and abroad have to start putting out those articles in the paper where we're talking about, from constitution reform to the national debt to the disenfranchised, the Rowan James, and how the matter is being handled. It is the first I've ever seen they have gone so far. And if we allow them, they are going to go further. This, Jeffrey, is alarming. This is clear sign that if you don't abide by what we say, we are going to hunt you down and we are going to embarrass you. All one has said in it, and if you look at who Rowan James is, I know Rowan James when he worked in West Kingston as a police. If you go in all of those areas and ask about Corporal Rowan James, it is always going to be with love and a greater feel. He went out of his way to make sure that he speaks with citizens. He earned their respect. He treated them as if they were human. And he was the go-to guy for a long time when he served in West Kingston. And I had no doubt when he became the chairman that he was going to bring that same sort of vim, vitality and vigor to it. And if you listen to his public utterance, it is always in line with what Norman Manley says. Development of a nation cannot happen if you have not empowered the citizen. That's what the late Norman Manley said. In this dispensation, you know, one second, let me just complete my thought. In this dispensation, you're seeing this being eroded, is your rights being cut. And the fact that Senator said, Jeffrey, the New Bail Act is going to further impede on you as a citizen should cause all of us to spring to action tomorrow morning to say, we're not seeing it on your side, but we're seeing where you're oppressing the Jamaican people, and we're just not going to have it. We're just not going to have it.
You know,
I'm not telling anybody to burn no tire and burn no road, and no, let us plan some peaceful demonstration. Let us also see if we can take a case to the Constitutional Court on this matter.
You know, I'm going to let Senator come in. But you know something, Luke and Senator? How many Jamaicans rather, really understand? And I'm not downgrading my fellow Jamaicans. I am not. Because majority of them who are listening to me are watching me on YouTube, or maybe listening to me on Jam Talk Radio. Hopefully that is on. I don't think this is on yet. But if those who are listening are watching me, how many of them understand what we are saying? That this current government, led by the most honorable Andrew Brogard Michael Holness, that's my name, and I'm making him name, sir. How many Jamaicans understand what he is really doing when he has his parliamentarians coming into the parliament, do what they feel like to do? You have the likes of Evan Warmington calling a Jamaican citizen chink, dog, and drunk rock. And the Prime Minister of Jamaica, I personally sent him a WhatsApp message. And the Prime Minister of Jamaica said nothing to Everett Warmington. And the People's National Party sit down in the Parliament and did nothing about it. And that is why the likes of Darryl Vaz and the likes of James Roberts and the likes of Everett Warmington can get up and go on the way they go on with Mark Jefferson Golding. Because the People's National Party senator, I'm sorry, it's the truth, they sit down in the Parliament and they allow the likes of Everett Warmington, Darryl Vaz, James Robertson to disrespect.
No, Jeffrey, look here. Look here, Jeffrey. In all fairness to the 15, to the big seat where them have, you and me, you and I have watched this continuously. They are abusing the position. It is not for the opposition to rise up in dissent of what is happening. It's for the citizen to ask ourselves, is this the best? Is this the best?
I think you're misunderstanding me. What I'm saying, when I'm saying I don't have enough time here with us, so I don't want her to leave yet. But you know, what I am saying, when Mr. Warmington went to Portland and disrespected Jamaican citizen, okay, the gentleman said he is from the opposition, and the likes of Everett Warmington, a minister of government. In which other modern democracy can this nonsense continue or go on? And the people sit down
and that's why I'm responding. As Senator says before, and I want you to take it in the context of when you had the state of emergency and the People's National Party got up and said, boy, it's an abuse of power, and therefore it is not constitutional for you to have this prolonged use of the state of emergency. And to their credit, they took it to the court, and the court has struck it down. Every time the PNP gets up to say anything about the conduct of the of the government, they are black-hearted with when under the there, and so it has become a personal vendetta on the part of the PNP. And this is why I'm saying I don't want the PNP always to have to defend the fact that there is moral decay that is ebbing away from the parliament and the leadership. Because, Jeffrey, how much time you hear Ms. Dalrymple tell the people them say this is the highest court of the land, therefore she's the chief justice. She's the chief justice of the, and then she run it like her big yard. She have a tenement yard, and it's almost like Mark Golden and his team live at the back of our yard boy them. So it is for the people of Jamaica, after seeing that disgraceful performance by Miss Holness and her diatribe, who must come out and say, look here, PM, look here, remove Miss Holness because she do not possess the mantle or the metal to really be the Speaker of the House. Because what they are not ashamed of, Jeffrey, they have branded themselves the party of disrespect and downright daringness by treating people with brutishness. It is for the people of Jamaica, and that's why I'm happy for a champion in the position of a person of Jeffrey Tavares. And we need to find your Jamaican counterpart who will go out there and say, that can work and keep it alive. Keep it alive. Because you see, if the People National Party go say that, you're going to hear say, oh, it's because they're not in power, and enough Jamaicans are not coming out and say, no. It's the same way when you call the man Master Mark and Angela Brownberg rise up to say, we don't speak like that anymore. It's a language of the past. And the whole place descended. Where Nigel is so empowered to say, I will not withdraw those statements. Yet still, we ask for morals and values to be returned to the society when the very leadership of the society have divorced themselves from that action and has turned the parliament into a tenement situation. It's untenable. If the people must rise up, people power, people must rise up against it.
Senator Donna Scott-Mottley, come on in here because you're the guest this afternoon. And
well, you know, Jeffrey, I'm going to be leaving you very shortly.
Oh, Lord,
I'm very happy that Luke is there because Luke is he's such a riveting speaker that I know that your guests who are watching online will be delighted to have him for the rest of the program.
No, they're tired of me, Senator. They're tired of me. They wanted a better fresh air.
Based on all of this, do you think right now the extension of the retirement age for the DPP, what the Minister of National Security, the Commissioner of Police did to Corporal Rowan James, the way how they talk to other members in the Parliament, the disrespect, and do you think that the Prime Minister have any control over his party?
Well, put it this way, I'm going to give you a tangible example. The Prime Minister on the Thursday, I don't remember the date, said to that he had instructed his people, the members of his team, to stop talking about the Integrity Commission, stop casting aspersion on the Integrity Commission. The following day, the recently appointed Senator Abdul Henley was busy cussing the Integrity Commission when he opened the State of the Nation debate. Now, if you can be the most junior senator in the room and you can defy the Prime Minister's instructions, I think I can rest my
argument done.
Argument done.
So hold on here.
Argument done.
Hold on here. You don't have to answer this, Senator. Then if they don't listen to him, Luke George said that the Prime Minister should ask the Deputy Speaker to step down. Do you think the Deputy Speaker will listen to him? No, but then we must realize that although I said this in a Jeffrey, I forgot to draw one and hear one. Is that chicken without a head? Right?
I believe that I don't want to focus in on that because there are other considerations apart from political appointments that would operate there. Yeah. You know, and we still have to be sensitive to that. But what I would say is that there's nothing that Warmington has done that I've ever seen the Prime Minister reprimand him about. Nothing. Not from
but Senator.
Reporter. Yes.
Remember, Warmington once told the Prime Minister, you know, without casting any shadow of a doubt that he's not answerable to him, but the people of his constituency. So until the people of his constituency vote otherwise, him not take no talk from the Prime Minister. Remember, he said that unapologetically.
Isn't that a disgrace?
It's more than a disgrace, you know, Jeffrey. It's more than a disgrace because here it is that you have the government, and the government should be held to such high standard. And inside the government, you have members who continually demonstrate a lack of regard for the people of Jamaica, and they do so because they feel as if they have enough money to go to the next election and be victorious while they're plotting against the Jamaican people behind their back and we get glimpse of it, but we are not prepared to say, give us more. So you tear down every institution, you remove the office of the political ombudsman, you then start to cast aspiration on the Integrity Commission, but you don't do it in the same vim and vitality when members of your party becomes over exuberant with the power that they have been ascribed. But therefore, maybe because you are God, you have given them additional power that you can be calling a counterpart and a Jamaican chink drunker, and then you go back to the parliament and nobody say anything because Warmington seem to have videotape on the whole of them. But listen, is the Jamaican people must demand once and for all, not the constituents of Mr. Warmington. Mr. Warmington and anybody who behaves in this way is in violation of the trust and the respect of the Jamaican people and should go. Should go.
Yes, look, hold a minute for me, Luke, because I don't want to travel fine to go. And I just yes, the last question for you, Senator. It is alleged that there's a diplomatic row between Jamaica and the United States, Senator. I'm pretty much sure you're aware of it. You've heard of it. Don't you think by now the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade or the Minister of Information, because you're here, I'll call his correct title, because in other circles they call him the Minister of Misinformation. Anyway, don't you think that the Minister of Information or the Prime Minister should address the nation pertaining to what is going on? Is there a diplomatic row between Jamaica and the United States? Is it that we're going to see Jamaicans' visas being pulled from them?
Well, what concerned me was the fact that the Prime Minister was required to go through the TSA lines like everybody else.
I was going to touch to that.
I'd accept that could have been due to a clerical error. This imbroglio is totally unacceptable, but it doesn't surprise me because it's a way that the Andrew Holness administration handles things. They are not adept at dealing with challenging situations. They don't know how to finesse a situation like that. First of all, that situation should have been dealt with privately, in the sense that we, the public, we shouldn't know about it. You understand what I'm saying?
Because it is a private diplomatic cable between countries.
Exactly. It shouldn't become a public row. In the same way, we are right back where we started, because this whole situation with the DPP has been caused by a failure of the administration to understand how to approach matters such as this.
And on that note, I just want to say thanks to
But Senator, before you go, it's good to see you. I'm glad that he went through the TCC land. I'm glad that he has joined the plebeian class. The same way treat we might get a little taste of it. Welcome. We will give him a seat at the table.
Go ahead, Senator.
Can I say good night to you? And good night, Lord. Take care of yourself. Thank you for inviting me, Jeffrey.
I may need your services because they might come take my passport. So stand by, stand ready.
But it might be the two of us in the same position.
Well, at least I'll be happy. I'll be happy if you and I.
Good night. Good night. Good night.
Attorney at law.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Do I just leave then?
Yes, just leave.
Yes.
Unless you want to stay with us. No,
you just heard that me and Donna will be arrested at Upper Camp, where Rocky Bean has made special accommodation for us.
In the name of Jesus. But look,
no.
It cannot be that we have an old 18th century regulation for the Police Service Commission. I think, based on what I'm reading here, take further notice that in keeping with the Regulation 35.5 of the Police Service Regulation of 1961, you are not to leave the island of Jamaica without the permission of the Governor General of Jamaica. Any application to leave the island must be made to the Superintendent of Police in charge of the Kingston West Division no later than 2 months before the intended date, in keeping with the Force Order number 3668, page 1, subsection 4, dated September 21st, 2017. Lou, is it that?
Look, go ahead.
Is it that Corporal Rowan James has committed a crime? Is it that Corporal Rowan James has
This is this man is being treated as if he has committed treason against the state. When the utterance is in keeping with what the Jamaican civil service is seeing, it's an eroding of the rights of the civil service and not recognizing in a way the unwavering support by the men and women in uniform and by extension the entire civil service. For this to happen, Jeffrey, you know that he has hit a nerve with the commissioner, and the commissioner, who enjoys a very close friendship with the current prime minister, is known,
and also the Minister of National Insecurity.
Right, is going to demonstrate how they're going to treat with people who are not abiding by the so-called rules that they have set out. And it's a telling time for what is to come. And as the senator further goes on to say, in the new Bail Act that you're going to be seeing, just think about it, Jeffrey. The police no longer will need evidence to say that they suspect a Jeffrey Tavares, a Luke George Cooke of nefarious activity. Hence, they can now confiscate our passport. They can now ask us they could hold us or detain us for a period of time. I'm sure they probably will call it the Espionage Act. But it is worrying that Rowan will need the support
of all Jamaicans,
of all Jamaican, and a robust team of lawyers. The Peter Champagne, no doubt, and some of the other brand name one. I was gonna call your cousin, but but then he's on the side of the government. He's gonna need a lot of stuff.
The people of the Vumvavi and the Vumvava won't come down the lowest to represent a Rowan James, a Luke George, and so on and so forth.
No, they won't. But when I looked at it today and I saw the article that they were using, and I realized where it was coming from, I said, Jesus Christ, to what end will they go to muzzle this young man? And what I also fear, to what end they'll go to kill him. Because that is...
Because if they're asking this, in further notice that's in keeping with the Regulation 35.5 of the Police Service Regulation 1961, you are to give the Senior Superintendent of Police, Kingston West Division, the address at where you're located. You're also to provide a phone number, an email address at which you can be contacted, and information for a next of kin. Let me make something clear this evening, Luke, before you say anything. Jamaicans, If anything should happen to Corporal Rowan James, you all know where it's coming from. If anything should happen to Corporal Rowan James, we must make the international community know that if anything should happen to Corporal Rowan James, hold the government of Jamaica accountable. Because the man have we don't see no speech anymore. Is it that?
No man, no man, you can't talk against broke God, you know.
Is it that me? No, do it. I want him to come for me. I dare him to come for me. Let me not do it now. Is it that Jamaica? Is it that he's so embedded with the Chinese and he's so embedded with the oligarchs of Russia that Jamaica has become a dictatorship? That Jamaica has become a communist government? And we must
and Israel, don't leave out Israel.
And Israel? Listen to me, people, no matter wake up. If he can do this to Corporal Rowan James, who wouldn't the Minister of National Security and Twiddly Dum Dum do it to?
As I said, as it unfolds now, Jeffrey, it is becoming evidence that the article that was put out sometime by Trevor Monroe linking us to El Salvador and the dictatorship that was there has its validity. Monroe might have been a protege of before his time, and therefore he had said that we are slowly marching to the beat of becoming like El Salvador, where you are going to exact your revenge on any well-thinking Jamaica who speak out against the government. I think today we were like the opposition in Israel when the announcement came from the Netanyahu regime that
Benjamin Netanyahu.
Yeah, Benjamin Netanyahu regime, that they are limiting the courts as to the rights that they can have, that the opposition was dumbfounded. We're not dumbfounded. It's that we can't believe that it's playing out right before our eyes, that the very thing that Jeffrey Tavares we have been talking about, you kept on saying we are marching to the tune of becoming like a Haiti. And I kept on saying, I don't believe that, but there is validity in that tonight, that, you know, the country is on the wrong path. And there's nothing that these people can say to well-thinking Jamaican that is going to make us believe otherwise. Prime Minister Holness can ask that this circus with Corporal Rowan James come to an end and allow him to go and do his work. But then, you know what I discovered, Jeffrey? I think a month ago somebody said to me Rowan James was at the function of the National Housing Trust, where they were handing out houses to members of the police community, and he introduced Prime Minister Andrew Holness. And when the Prime Minister got up to speak, the Prime Minister acknowledged everybody else on the platform except Rowan James. So on the eve of that, the person who were telling me actually was at the event, and I think that they took the Prime Minister to task to ask him, so what is this thing with you and Rowan that everybody else on the platform? He never acknowledged him as the person who introduced him, and he never acknowledged him in his capacity as chairman of the Police Federation. So you know that this has been brewing, and this is now not just the commissioner and the Minister of National Security, but it goes as far as the fact that Rowan public utterances, oftentimes those of the Barbadian Prime Minister, when she talks about the importance of an inclusive leadership governance structure, that it has grown, it has become the offense. And for something as simple as freedom of speech, this is what you're seeing, that they couldn't find anything else than to go revisit this. In the first time in my 48 years, I've seen them use this regulation. And I've seen them so them so vindictive, brother. Them Jeffrey, the man, them petty bad, you know. Because all this do, you know, is just show us that Rowan is on the right path. And the rest of us must take a page out of Rowan book and start to speak with truth. Me, I gotta see how much space them have up our park camp for all the rest of us. But it's a country in trouble. It's a country in trouble. We must write the article, Jeffrey Tavares. We must have the petition out about this and other situation. And we certainly must now start the peaceful demonstrations. And we are black again. We are black for Rowan James.
Let me say something to you, Luke. If we sit down, I have a spiritual mother who we sit and we talk sometimes. And she said something to me one day. The deaf can hear, and the blind can see what is going on in this country. So who have ears can hear, and eyes to see, let them see that this country, and I keep on saying that, people say to me, I must stop saying, Jamaica is going down like this. And if we don't stand up like the people of Israel, or other people around the world who stand up and say enough is enough, then God help this country.
But you know, but Jeffrey, you notice that we are the country of Bogle, Sam Sharp, George William Gordon, Marcus Messiah Garvey, and Nani and the Maroon, who fought for our freedom and liberties, and their hope were that we would have a democracy that recognized the true involvement of people, and that our policies would have been more people-centered. It's geared towards the upliftment of people. And you notice how when we had our protest, them are just some flam protests. We not go out there as a combined group of people, because we are so individualistic now and everybody wants it for themselves. But what I'm to run can't happen to any of us. And in the new Bail Act, you see, in this new Bail Act that is being proposed, and I'm sure because of the majority of the member of parliament, and that the fact that the Senate is really governed by this wicked, uncaring administration, more and more of our rights, Jeffrey, are going to be taken away. And what that means, if it don't happen to me, I don't get up and talk about it. And that's wicked, because what affects one affects all, because the threat of injustice anywhere is the threat to justice everywhere. And every Jamaican, Jeffrey, must see ourselves at this time, not as a green Jamaica, not as an orange Jamaica, not as an uptown. Well, me can't get the uptown people, them, that 1% of people are that 25% that makes up the middle class. To see that we can't continue down this path is, you have to return to the days when you are your brother's keeper, and we have to support Rowan. You can imagine the mindset that the man must be in tonight, having served in this capacity and have been championing the cause of all the ranks, the junior ranks in the police force, to end up now to be given this indictment on something that you know that you really didn't do. You have just been truthful to your calling, and then to end up being treated this way. I don't see any statement that has come out from the Federation as to how they are going to support James. I don't see any.
Did made a statement. I don't have the Secretary of the Police Federation, she did came out with a statement.
Okay. But you can see though, Jeffrey, it's real. The fear tactics where they drive fear by doing this to Rowan, and you see they are returning to the days of slavery, where you take the strongest slave and you beat them, you tie them to the horse and beat them in different direction, so that the rest of us now must fall in line. Jamaicans, we have returned to the days of slave. We have stopped black back dog for monkey. Time to get up, because what affects Rowan is not far from my doorstep, and is not far from your doorstep too.
And if they, as what you said, if they can do that to Corporal Rowan James, a hero in his own right, if they can do that to
unsung hero, man.
An unsung hero, if they can do that to him, what they wouldn't do to everybody else. But let me make something this evening. I keep on saying this. Jamaicans, both home and abroad, the time has come for us to rally around a single cause and a single purpose. Jamaica come first, not the land where you are now. The country where you are from is in crisis. For far too long, we keep swapping black dog for monkey in this country. From 1938 until now. And they have amended the constitution to suit themselves time and time and time again. Jamaicans, a new bail act is coming out to infringe on the fundamental rights of you. Wake up, smell the coffee, stop this PNP and JLP thing, rise up as Jamaicans, stand up as Jamaicans. Let me make something clear to the Michael Andrew Holness-led administration tonight. You are putting the Jamaican people back against the wall. You are putting the Jamaican people back against the wall for far too long. And they are going to stand up. They are going to rise up one of these days. That's why you're building up our camp? Are you trying to turn this country into a military state? What are you trying to do? The last time I checked, we're a democracy, Andrew Holness, not a dictator state.
We have become a theocracy. Tyranny run this thing, you know. Dictator and tyranny, man.
You is in collusion with the Minister of National Security and the Commissioner of Police to put a Jamaican citizen in a
chokehold.
In a chokehold?
Yeah.
The Governor General.
And the header, can you imagine they named him, the man of the thought, tell him before he can leave. And him not even call and say, boy, being a good, the man was a farmer, head of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and know that God is always on the side of natural justice. You could even call the Prime Minister and say, this row with Corporal Rowan James need to stop. Let us have a King's House talk and see how we can come to some understanding. No, he's named right there as a good public servant, because all he's doing is collecting the money. He doesn't care how people's lives are being destroyed.
When are we going to stand up in this country?
Spineless jellyfish, man. Jamaicans have become some spineless jellyfish. The whole are afraid. And true, we want them for like we and give a contract. Well, me no want no contract. That's why me left. On fire me from one next company when Mr. Wow need to do. And the same man will fire me is now the Prime Minister, best friend up at Jamaica House. The head of Jamaica Social Investment Fund when no one say a line tell upon me. And now he's rewarded as the head of Jamaica Social Investment Fund. It's pure lie run this thing, man. Every one of them where you stay up there where speak the Queen English are in a them top position. Them sign contract with the devil. Them and the devil in a dealings. They ruin people's life. Anybody who stands up and speak out against them in this country, they come after you with all that they have. And don't be surprised if tomorrow morning you know hear them bring up trump up charges against me. Or him this and him that and him that. Me know how this thing operates. You remember when you said the two political party are two criminal gang? Is the political party and the business private sector and some of these public service representatives they are all a set of criminals. All of them.
We are just sitting down and all we can talk who support a Labour Party from who support a PNP. You see where this country going? You all see where this country going? Are we so embedded in the two political parties in this country that we don't see where this country is heading? I said to somebody last night, my heart grieves for my country. And the person said to me, Mr. Jeffrey, I am worried. I am worried about this country. Is this the country we want to leave for our children? Is this the country that we want to leave for our children? When are we going to stop and look and stop this JLP and PNP stupidness and rise up in this country and speak for this country? If they can do that to Rowan James, they'll do that to any one of us.
People before they talk about what's up.
Hold on, Lou. Do you believe that because you're a member of the Labour Party, Andrew can't come for anyone you want to you? Him and him cronies?
But Labour rights are feeling it too. Jeffrey, Labour rights are feeling it. Yeah, Labour rights are feeling it too. There are people who are strong supporters of the Jamaica Labour Party who say we're not going to vote the next election. We're not going to show our support behind the party. We're certainly not switching our alliance from the party. But we're dying to see the back end of the Andrew Holness-led government. People talk to you. I mean, remember, I am a member of no political party. Jeffrey, I don't have a membership in the PNP. I don't have a membership in the Jamaica Labour Party. And I talk to people on both sides of the fence. I talk to people on both sides of the fence. And when you listen to some, you don't even have to strike up a conversation with them. They are striking up a conversation with you and they're saying, no, look, me see what you're talking about. This is madness. The thing I go lopsided. The man have no control. Him have no control over it. And these are young people, these are middle-aged people, these are people that from I was a child, when my grandfather and them used to run the joke after election night, whoever win them buy broom and them buy beer. And the other one said to the other one, I go and sweep, we sweep and clean out of the house. But that was the level of bantering compared to now where you can be killed. You can be killed for having a view separate and apart from one of the two diatribes. So it is not
diatribe, the two gang.
The two biggest gang in it, the two biggest firm in Jamaica. And that with the police now, you're seeing the police force becoming a firm. But Jeffrey, the question is, if this is how the Holness government is prepared to lead the country, what are we to expect when the eruption takes place? Because when people wake up and realize them have no right one morning, it not go easy down here, Papa. It not going easy down here. And let me tell you something. If you know how this gang works, they unite, Jeffrey, when it is necessary. They will unite when it is necessary. The Prime Minister needs to roll back on some of these things that he's imposing because these are harsh, dictative measures. Imagine NID, the national ID was taken, the concept was taken from Israel. And you know that in Israel, that needs ID, the model was making sure that we keep the Palestinian people in control and to control how we monitor the movements of the Palestinian people. And that is the model that Jamaica. Now we have Curacao, who is our nearest neighbor, who has an ID system that is quite effective, and we never tried to fashion that. We had to go to Israel to get it. So if that is not oppressive in its nature and tells you the mindset of the government, then I don't know what else is going to convince you. This is tyranny. It's tyranny at its highest form.
And this government went and spent $1 billion to organize what they call it for the parliamentarians?
What them call them what?
What they call the thing that they went and spent much money for the parliamentarians, man. Oh my God. You have to send in a CV. What is the company name, Luke, man? That the parliamentarians. Oh Lord, I don't remember the name of it. Anyway,
you mean the job description or the proposal?
There you go. They went and spent how much $1 billion to get a job description done.
But it's not a job description. Have you seen the document? It's not a job description. Look, it's making it easier, and then you say, all right, you must have a 5-year plan as to what you're going to do. I can tell you that the 5-year plan is going to be generic. You're going to find that all of the labor rights them have one, and all of the PNP have one, even although their constituency have different degree of dimension and different social and economic problem. All of it is going to be generic. No hard work. If you ever look at when they write for the constituency development fund, it is so basic that anybody can take it up and do it. Even a student at JAMA level 1 can do it, because all you say, we are gonna fix some gully, we are buy 10, we are buy 10 machete, we are buy 10. And if you have another beautification project, there is no monetary evaluation as to where those equipments are put, because these are property of the constituency, so that they can be used for all further beautification to cut down on the scarce benefits and spoil. So they are laughing at us because they have devised strategies and ways that they can continue to just look as if they're doing something, when the truth of the matter, if you ask HR specialists for a proper job description, they will tell you that what we have is not a proper job description. And this is why we should be writing the job description. The member of parliament must be seen in the constituency. The member of parliament must have a committee separate and apart from the political group that must oversee and have oversight of the monitor and evaluation of the equipment. It must be built up of community leaders, civil society group, and government entity. We must have timeline for how projects are done. We must show how payments are done. Those things you have to put there if you really want to have a effective constituency running, and the development plan. We must be able to review it and see how we are achieving it, what changes need to be made, and so forth. So again, it's literally them making up something to satisfy the rest of us because we have asked for it. But how involved we were in on it? Have you seen it, Jeffrey? Have you seen the document? Have you seen the job description? And then if there's a job description, should a member of parliament be absent from parliament for more than 5 months and still maintain the position?
Well, one of them in there is very sick, and he has not attended parliament yet since that. And
he's not stepping down.
There is one there on the other side who has not been seen in parliament yet. The name called, and they're getting salary.
Mike Henry.
Yeah.
And have you seen Manayard?
We haven't seen Manayard that he's sick too.
Nah, leave till them dead in the man. Look, like Mr. Henry and I worked on the National Council for Senior Citizens directory that was done by Elsha Sales. I have the greatest of respect for the man. When I worked with him, I found him to be something of a man who have a depth of knowledge. But if you're sick, Mike, step down. I don't think it's for want of money while you're there. Don't hold on to this. I think your health is more important. And Dawn is such a fantastic wife. Go home and go enjoy your grandkids. You are such a family man. The man is really big on family, you know, and him love Jamaica, man. From when me know the little time when me spend with him down in place down at LMH Publishers, I was just blown away. Outside of the political facade, when you get to know Mike Henry as a person, him talk about Jamaica, he makes you want to just love Jamaica. Every time Mike Henry talks about Jamaica, I literally see him like him caressing her. Him know her inside out, him know. But he too have spoken about the leadership that is badly lacking to bring Jamaica to the place that it needs to be. He talks about his beating that he has taken in the JLP for his views on the oneness of Jamaica. But you reach a point now, Sir Henry, where you can't manage it no more. Pack up and leave. Pack up and leave.
You know something, Luke? I said it before. I said it today. I think I said it today on my program on the radio. That when you sit down and listen to the likes of Darrell Val, the likes of James Roberts, and the likes of Mrs. Everall Warmington, getting up in the parliament and talking that who must apologize for who must not apologize. I don't see that neither Darrell Val, Everall Warmington, and James Robertson have the moral authority to speak in the Jamaican parliament, much as they tell nobody to apologize. And those are the people who we have sitting in the parliament who they say they're leading this country and they're representing us overseas. And Everall Warmington treat the Jamaican people this way. And the Andrew Willis administration with the Minister of National Security and the Commissioner of Police treating Rowan James as if he is an enemy of the Jamaican state. Luke George?
But me don't tell you already, the double standard that you see that is being carried out by the leadership of this country. It is for that reason why it is so hard for us to convince unattached youth to get involved with this country, because they see these people as people who have betrayed the very fundamental thing that they said that they are supposed to be protecting. Jeffrey, the country has gone so far, the horse gone through the gate so far that this is what we have to choose from now, because majority of well-thinking Jamaican wants to preserve life and property, so them not say nothing. So what you have to pick from is the lowest of the lowest from the barrel, and these people don't have any regards because they feel that they are gods and that they are Lord over us. And until the voting population and until we put aside our differences as a people and frame the picture and look at it for what it is, we can't expect to get any better. And you see, me keep on saying, you know, me hope say, outside of the fact that you and I and your listening audience come on this program and we express our views, there are people who love Jamaica. We're going to love it until them take our last breath. So if them send the police to me tonight and you say I'm no longer, I love my country, Me never see myself around where from here. It has never crossed my mind. But you know, today I was talking to a well-known Jamaican educator, and I know she don't want me call her name on the program. But when I heard her said, Jeffrey, I had the option of leaving, but I never thought the day would come when my beloved Jamaica would tear my heart apart. And if I go to before a heart specialist now, it's the wrong and the evil that I see that is being carried out by so many people from every walk of life in this country that is causing my health to decline. Luke, is the first time in my life I want to be somewhere else. And I don't see a rollback. I don't see a rollback. She said, there is not every day I get up. I pray to God and I don't know. She said, it looked like God will not answer her. She said, every day I get up, I pray to God that somebody, some group, some people will rise up in this country and call her back to righteousness. And she said, Luke, when we're looking at church, them just as corrupt as the politician. When we look in the business and private sector, them just as corrupt as the politician. When we used to look on the ordinary Jamaicans, and yet still there are the people that have been tread upon. And one time, those are the people that you could find the greatest niche of love and support. Corruption is so ripe there. What will become of this country? What will become of this country that I have sacrificed all of my teenage years and adult years and continue to give in whatever liquor circle? I am a part of my church, this I'm a part of my church, that. But let me tell you, Luke, I am afraid of what is to come. And all I could say to her, we must remember when we see these things with our redemption draw at nigh, and so we must look up. But while we're looking up, we must continue like good disciple to make our imprint, because it is not for man, but rather for God. But when we hear somebody like that woman is she inspires me in so many ways. When she talk about this country, you just have to love it. And when she tell you about what used to hold, and when you look at these tyrants, you go up on stage and because you hate Rowan James, you call everybody name. Andrew, one time, when them go low, we go high. That was, let me borrow Michelle Obama. So if you believe, say, Rowan go low, you as Prime Minister. Big up, for sure, you say them don't even have good interpersonal relationship. Now, most people dislike me, when we see them in a public, I never know, say me and them having manufacture beef, because when we see them, this is who I am. I'm going to pay you the greatest of respect. Wagwan, you good? So and so and so and so. Me not gonna go up on stage and go show people say, me personally dislike Rowan. Me a Prime Minister. Me, I feel say, Wagwan, my brethren Rowan, me hear you make some big speech, But me understand where you come from. It is not a perfect union, but we are trying to make it perfect. Give me a little time, man. But don't let up. Hold we accountable to what we're saying. And tonight, you, Andrew Holness, can ask them to take away this ridiculous charge that is against Rowan James. You have the power to do that.
But the Governor General has the more power than the Prime Minister. The GG can call the Commission and the Prime Minister and ministers and listen to me. I want to stop this nonsense. Cut it out.
You never hear me tell you, say the man should have King's House start. The two of them and Andrew and the Governor General are two church brothers. The two of them go to St. Andrew's Seventh-day Adventist together. So he's not even a call him. I'm going to see him tomorrow.
The Bible said, it's not all who say Lord, Lord, and shall enter the kingdom of heaven.
Boy, it's rough. It's a hard pill to swallow. I am Rowan James tonight. I feel that there is a move to silence Jamaicans who are independent thinkers and who will express how they feel. I think to his credit, he has done so respectfully, and he has done so on the behalf of the men and women in our police force. We have some bad players, but the majority of the Jamaica police force are good men and women, and we should not use a handful of people to cast aspersion on them. Um, I cannot imagine how they must be feeling tonight that the leadership of the Jamaica Labour Party is demoralizing them, and they are basically punishing people for the freedom of speech that we are entitled to us, and it was not done in any defamatory way that anybody should take it personally. He has really just been saying things that other people have said, and he's saying it in light of how many Jamaicans have seen the Jamaica going. And Jeffrey Tavares is a time. It is a time for concern. It's a time for concern. One man did talk about Andrew and his wife, and Mr. McGregor found him underneath him bed bottom and videotaped him, and had him go before the nation to apologize. It is a time when freedom of speech is not so free anymore. And many of us well, the few of us.
Let me ask you this question. The way how the police administration is going on, was it the same way the saga administration was going on in the 1980s?
That's what I said. They have returned to the one done situation, but they have solidified it. They have solidified it. And you must remember, in the previous election, this was why people had voted them out after that one term, because them said they were so arrogant that nobody wanted that sort of leadership. And you would have thought that they would have learned their lesson from that time. But no, them come back and they are worse. They are worse. This is like
the way how things are going on now. It seems as if we call election tomorrow morning and go back in.
Well, sad to say that we have fostered a whole heap of licky Jamaican who will sell us out for a pot of porridge. But if that is the only basis, if it's the $5,000, go and put him in there with another slim percentage of Jamaicans who vote. If Jamaicans continue to hold on to this, I have been born from Wapikil, Philo, and I never voted, can I still for vote for. Well, when them take away your rights and them further infringe on your rights, you will have something that you might want to remember when you sit at your yard and don't participate in the rights and freedom that other people died for, that you are now living in a more free Jamaican that is going back to a totalitarian state. So Jeffrey, it's serious. It really serious. I'm so happy that Madam Senator brought up the Bail Act, because
I was just gonna say to you, look, remember what I'm gonna say. The new Bail Act is coming up. And as the Jamaicans are saying, Jeffrey Tavares is chatting and Luke George is chatting in the chat, but leave him alone. It's going to affect you. It is going to affect every single one of us. So we need to talk about it, because majority, as what Senator said, some of the things in the Bail Act is very questionable. It's going to infringe on your fundamental rights as a Jamaican citizen. And the first time the Prime Minister of Jamaica start having this constitution infringement is when he decided to sign undated letters to the senators. He breached of the land so many times, and he sits there. In which other modern democracy can you have a prime minister breaching the constitution and the fundamental rights of the citizen of the country, and he still sit there?
You keep on saying that. You keep on saying that, and I tell you, say, it's the lay of the land. Almost in every democracy that I go on now. State power versus people power. The state have maximized the amount of power that the people will have by muzzling them. The great United States through the Senate and the Congress. When Mr. McConnell and Mr. McCarthy say Joe Biden and this a thief and that a thief and we are take voters' right. You see it in a Britain, you have an Indian man where him come from a shithole country and him takes it by migrants. And migrants him gonna go take it pan. And nobody not too like the brother because the brother is one of the richest prime minister in the modern history. You have a guy named Justin Trudeau. Oh, the Trudeau theory was always that, and funny enough, Jamaica sits in the IMF with Canada. Jamaica sits in the chair that the Canada is at. And yet still the other day, eh? What? No man, we people don't know say when the people don't know say when money are borrowed and people are lend. Jamaica, because we're such a small economy, we have to go with one of the larger states and we went with Canada. We can't check out the facts because we're not talking where we don't know. And then look pan Trudeau the other day, come here and say him love Jamaica and him want buy land, but him disrespect we. Him disrespect we because true we got to talk about the Canadian farmer program and the hostility we are going. You look pan Israel, look pan the bigger state. You look pan Israel, you look pan and then you look pan Israel and you see how everybody know is almost like the universal standard for leadership, dictatorship. You look at a Vladimir Putin and you know say him can't go nowhere because him kill film allied, which is what Andrew probably is leaning towards the Prime Minister is leaning toward. Kill anybody that don't agree with you. And then you look down in China and they're saying that you can't give Taiwan independence. You can't give. This is how the world is slowly emerging, Jeffrey, into one total whatever state, and it's pure dictator. So you keep on saying that evil Mottley in Barbados by holding that large majority. Me a bad. The only thing I love about me, she says things that are true for smaller state like ours. She talks about the leadership, although I think that she's a big, in contrast to what she said, she is a big big example of what that totalitarian can look like. But she speaks truth to power right now. Me think that she is the only person in CARICOM who have some balls. You know, I
dubbed her as the Iron Lady of the Caribbean. Are you Jenny?
Yeah, man. She is now. I've seen a return of a Portia Simpson Miller and Nanny of the Maroon and all those women who have sacrificed. But all me have to say, me I hope say you start marginalize your opponent because they too have some opinion and we don't want to solidify in anybody's mind that only one party and one leader have that, and a true leader must know how to unite even the opposition. They must have that thing about them that they can bring their partners along once it is in the best interest of the country. So that modern democracy that we speak of, Jeffrey, democracy as a word is just used because we can speak. But in Jamaica, democracy has never existed because it has always been them and us. But what has become worse, Jeffrey, is that them used to give us a little freedom to breathe. Now they are taking the air out of the room. That is what it is. They're taking everything and they're asking the Jamaican people to surrender their will and wish to the state power. And we cannot do that. We cannot give the state more power than the people. It is the people who put the handful of people there and they have become lord over us.
But Luke, when you look at it, if the Minister of Justice Delroy Chuck can override the Governor General, and went and amend the constitution in that way. What more do you think they will do?
What did the Roy Chuck have to do with this? Remember that constitution reform that we speak of started long before Holness came in. There used to be the Vera where Delroy Chuck was a sitting member of the Jamaica Labour Party side with Michael Manley and the David Core and and that lot. And I'm saying to you, Jeffrey, in this constitution reform discussion, there was a documentary that was done with Bruce Golden and PJ Patterson talking about what it is that they want to see. And I think it would be good if we could get it so the audience that we're speaking to could hear it, because the two gentlemen seem to have been in sync as to what Jamaica needs to do now, despite both of them have not come to the process with clean hands. Both of them have taken us through some dark channel in governance in this country. But notwithstanding, a man can be redeemed. No man is irredeemable. A man can be redeemed. So we listen to your truth. You know, my grandmother always said, when you go to church, eat the meat and spit out the bone. And what you're seeing is a fast track of this wish and desire to take away the fundamental rights and freedom of the Jamaican people. And that is why in a new constitution, it should be enshrined that those things are not negotiable. In fact, you should be enriching. You should enrich the section on fundamental rights that as citizens of Jamaica must be given bail once they have not committed treason or can be proved to have carried out a murder. Every other act is bailable, and nothing should infringe on their rights. It is the court that decide that their passport must be taken if they become a flight risk, and they must not be arrested for a long time. Can you imagine a man now have the power to come just lock me down in a jailhouse for 72 days? Because in probably not like when Mr. Teen said, officer, I don't like how you're conducting yourself as a citizen of this country. If you can't talk to police now, when you give them that supreme power, what do you think them are gonna do? All like me now that have always been me, I forgot defend sometimes people in lockup because of another title that I carried. And some police have it to say, me love going like me better than them. Imagine them just slap me one day in a police station and say I was offensive to the police, and before you know it, me going to jail under this new bail act. The man them just detain me as them have a mind.
It's very sad. And that is why Jamaicans must read and understand.
But the majority of them can't read. That's why them listen to the Jeffrey Tavares. Jeffrey, what you're doing, is helping people to understand, the ordinary people. Apart from the people that would know them come on to your program and them have them PNP alliance. And that is, I'm not trying to take that from you. You're a PNP, you're a comrade to the day you're dead. You're a laborite, you're a shot to the day. My cousin said PNP mean poor nigga more and JLP mean Jamaicans love poverty. I'm inclined to believe that because we're going into our 61st independence. And I ask you, are we better off 61 years later since the post slave era, or we are steadily tracking on the same trend as if the British or the Spanish or the French, enslaved us? That's for every Jamaican to think. Why a small, beautiful, promising country have not fulfilled all of her givings that she has? Why haven't we taken full advantage of the advantages that we have over other places? Imagine, Jeffrey, in 2023, in the United States, a policeman stops a citizen of Trinidad, and the man says, I am from Trinidad, and the police turns and says, oh, I was recently in Jamaica. Where in Jamaica is that? the world see the rest of the Caribbean as a parish or a providence of Jamaica. My God, what does that tell you? We have captured the imagination of the world, but what are we giving? What are we giving to the world? We rob Usain Bolt. Poor Shellyan is out there still putting Jamaica name and Sharika and the other young ladies on the map, and yet still them don't know if them can save them money at home, because Andrew Willis will not tell us if the FBI and the CIA is involved in the investigation. And Jeffrey, what have you heard of the SSL investigation that tells you that they are actively trying to give back the fastest man, if he still owns that title, because you have some young lightning bolt that come up if the man will ever get his money? And what should that say to you? Now we are approaching 61 years of independence, when we can rob a youth from Chilan who were born in absolute poverty and work himself out of poverty to have that money taken away from him. If the dream is for every Jamaican to be empowered and be self-actualized and earn, this man work hard for money, I want to take it away from him in a broad daylight. And nobody, neither the PNP, JLP, or the citizens of Jamaica have asked when the money are going to take away. So if his right can be breached at this level, what going to happen to a Luke George when I have no big Vumvava and Vumvavi title behind him name? All when them are going to last me like Donna Lee. Serious, Bridget. It's a serious deal when you think about Jamaica. You know, Jamaica is a place where you have to literally to build up your mentality, to your mental capacity to survive just the things that they're doing to you psychologically.
Let me
psychologically.
This is my honest answer. And a lot of people are vexing me tonight because of what I say. And I just, it has been from when Usain Bolt came to Florida, of the unveiling of his statue in Myanmar. I happen to be one of the persons who went there. And it dawned on me when I saw him. I don't know why. And I think I called Wilfred Rattigan same time or somebody. And I said it to them. I said, listen to me. You realize how Usain Bolt is very quiet about his SSL money? I wonder if some money was paid back to him and we don't know. Why is he so quiet? And why is it that neither the Minister of National Security, nor the Commissioner of Police, nor the media houses in Jamaica, at any press conference, ask the Minister of Misinformation, or in a press conference of the Commissioner of Police, no media house asks the Commissioner of Police or the Minister of Misinformation, is the Federal Bureau investigation in Jamaica, are they investigating the SSL saga? We don't know. Luke George, talk for me. I need to go to something here.
As Mr. Jeffrey, we were told that them tell we a lie. At the outset, the minister said that these agents were involved. There might be a reason, because some of these investment might be also coming out of the US, and because the US currency is the currency that is being used, they certainly, I know that the United States government would have an interest in it, but to date, since that has come out, we have not heard anything from anybody in the arena. There are some who believe that Usain Bolt might know exactly what happened to his money, you know, Jeffrey. I've heard some of the people say that maybe why you don't see a public outrage from Usain and him lawyer. You certainly don't hear what the lawyers are saying, and I'm watching this every day. Is because Usain have been asked to you know, just go along with it, because you have some people in Jamaica who say, "Are Usain Bolt money win the last election?" You know, it was borrowed for the last election and would have been repaid, and he was promised a repayment. And this is why there are those who say it is important for the JLP to win this election, because if them don't win this election, them not going to have enough money to pay back UCN. There's also the theory that Bill Gates can't get back any of the money, because if it involves investigation that have the American counterpart in it, then Bill Gates don't want to be caught.
Hold on. How Bill Gates come into this?
Well, as I tell you, there are many theories in Jamaica, and you have to listen. This holiness government seem to be scouting up the Bill Gates a lot. It is the first I've ever seen an American move giant in terms of wealth and certain things, but nobody can say what the real relationship that has been struck between the Bill Gates and this administration is. People on the JLP side that says that Bill Gates is funding.
Hold on. Why? I'm trying to get what you're trying to say with the Bill Gates and the administration. In what way? I don't understand.
No, what I was speaking, you were off. I was speaking to the theory that there are those who believe that Bill Gates was going to come to the assistance of helping to replace the Usain Bolt money. I don't know, because they said that Bill Gates is very sympathetic and, to the Jamaica Labour Party. There are those in the Jamaica Labour Party.
Why would he come? Hold on there, Luke. Why would he come to the aid of the Labour Party government when the government said that SSL is a private entity, has nothing to do with the government of Jamaica? So why would the money thief up?
Jeffrey, SSL is a private entity that the government had asked. The government was issued a report as to what was happening in there. And like the previous Ponzi scheme, most government ministers took their money out of the scheme. We have seen in recent times some very weird relationship between government and some international individuals, and there are questions about it. The business community was issued a letter that they are to cut down on their trading with China, and that was directly issued out of the United States Embassy to several members of the business community. So on the back end of it, there are things that are happening in Jamaica that people are not quite sure as to how this is happening. I know that a particular businessman told me that he used to do a lot of purchase with China, and he has had to sort of pull back. In fact, he says that it's almost like we are surrendering our power to a foreign national. I'm just saying what some people have been saying behind the scenes. They speak about a close relationship that has been formed between the Andrew Holness government and Bill Gates. I don't know if there's any such thing. It's really people from the Jamaica Labour Party who says that Bill Gates have really been supportive of the Holness government. He thinks that Prime Minister Holness is a forward-thinking guy. He likes it and he wants to support him in terms of bandwidth, internet, and the development of the IT sector. Don't know if that is true. I'm just saying what other people have said in my ears. I can just treat it as information and watch how it plays out. And
It's alleged that they have formed a band.
It is alleged that they have formed a band, and so these days are interesting days, because you're seeing more and more some characters getting involved with government, and you're wondering what this actually will mean. But again, there's a lesson to be learned here, Jeffrey, from the fallout at NCB and what you're seeing even today in the paper, that
I didn't get this
there,
paper in the paper.
that there are many lessons to be learned about what is said and seen in public, and the undercurrents that are going on behind the scene when we are not there. And I would like to encourage us as Jamaican to be more vigilant, to pay attention to details, and to respond in a timely way once we have done the necessary background check. Because again, there are even those who say that Hussein is part of the scheme. I don't know. It's alleged that he could be. That is why he's not making a fuss over it, and that he will get back the money in time. It will not be in the public space, but he will get it back. But it would be very unfortunate, because the mere fact that that money was taken hurts so many of us, to know where he's coming from and how hard he worked for it, and how it was just taken. And now we're seeing members of SSL getting off easily, when I believe that everybody at SSL played a part in what was happening there, and everybody should come out and say what it is that they did. But the more these things happen, Jeffrey, is the more people seem to band together and use the services of these lawyers that can go into court and make an argument and get people off on some technicalities, or the fact that the prosecution don't have a strong hand. It's really sad. It's really sad.
Are you aware? Did you hear at any time in the news in Jamaica that a submarine was spotted off the coast of St. Anne? Heard anything about it?
Again, it is alleged. It is alleged, because there are those. All right. So we hear that the warship is in Cuba, and we hear that there are frequent talks between the Russian and the Chinese and members of our government. I don't know. I honestly don't know, but if that is the case, it's going to see us muddying the water with the US relation, and we might just see some more cable coming through for head leadership and government ministers who are going to lose their visa, and cases brought against them.
Hold on, look. Let me make something clear this afternoon here on this program. Who am I? Mr. Cooke was not saying that Bill Gates want money or whatever, you know. What he was saying, it is alleged that Mr. Gates and the whole administration have a close relationship. It is alleged that they're saying that they think Mr. Gates will come to the whole administration and give back Usain Bolt money. It is alleged. We're not saying that Bill Gates is a big and how much money Bill Gates donated to Africa. We know that. But you all must listen. We're not saying anything that Mr. Cooke is saying, that Mr. Gates, this and Mr. Gates that. No. Back to the question I was asking. I'm trying to figure out if there was a United States submarine off the coast of St. Anne or in Jamaican waters. That people.
Jeffrey, that's what we heard. It is out in the street.
So
that's what we hear. Again, like the Bill Gates story, it is alleged that the United States have been sending submarine of several courses. They said that they saw one out there. Somebody said they spotted one in Portland. I don't know. I don't hear nobody reporting it. It's just that people said that they have been seeing it. I don't know if it's part of the whole panic that we're panicking that the US might start a a war with us. But and then in the news of Haiti and the evacuation of the American citizens, people are saying it looked like the US is gearing up now to carry out some action that is going to spill over into Jamaican waters. I tell you, I am not the one that is going to send the panic attack to anybody, but some things are just not in sync with what you'd normally see. As I said to you, I am very concerned that the American embassy has remained very quiet about this thing. They have not given any interview. They have declined interviews and so forth. And one has to just wonder what is coming.
I don't want to look it up. So are the Jamaican diplomats in Washington and in Miami. They have declined to comment on anything. So, you know, it begs to ask the question, what is going on? Why is it the Jamaican government is so silent? Why is it that journalists in Jamaica, I don't hear anybody, I didn't get a chance to watch the last press conference, but we don't know if they're asking questions pertaining to what. Is there a diplomatical wow or row or standoff between Jamaica and the United States? I see where attorney at law Wayne Golding was a Jamaican attorney, well-known attorney who's from Jamaican parentage or from Jamaica. I heard that he is alleged that he's an advisor to the Jamaican government. He was on a TV station in South Florida talking about the diplomatical standoff between Jamaica and America. So it begs to ask the question tonight. Is there a diplomatical standoff between Jamaica and America? Two.
It was answered earlier, you know, when Senator said that they don't seem to have the maturity to deal with crisis, and this could have been handled in a different fashion. She did say.
Last night.
Yeah, she did say. She did say it.
It begs to ask the question again, Lou. We have diplomatical standoff with the great superpower. Is Rowan James an enemy of the state of Jamaica?
By the powers that be, yes, but not by the people. And that is why the people must stand up.
Is Corporal Rowan James, Minister of National Security, Dr. Harris Chang? You can hardly stop the crime and violence in your constituency. You can't stop the crime and violence in Jamaica. So I'd like to ask you the question tonight, sir. Is Corporal Rowan James an enemy of the Jamaican state? Why you all decide to put a gag order and send this nonsense of a letter to him? And he has to report to the GG. And if you want to leave the country, you have 2 months' notice. What is this? Is this a totalitarian state? Andrew Holness, did the people of Jamaica vote to put you in to become a totalitarian dictator? You are the Minister of National Security and Injustice, who can't secure the people of this country. When a country or when a leader cannot provide security, education, health, jobs, and proper infrastructure for its people, something is fundamentally wrong with the governing of the country, Prime Minister Michael Bogard Andrew Holness. So the question we ask you tonight, is the FBI inside Jamaica investigating the SSL saga?
I don't think so.
Is Corporal Rowan James an enemy of the Jamaican state?
By the rank and file of the Jamaica Labour Party.
What is going on between Jamaica and the great United States, Prime Minister Holness, where you have to join the normal line of the people who live below a crossroad because you're from the Vumva of society. So how is it that you, Prime Minister Holness, no other Jamaican Prime Minister have ever treated that way by the American government, but you You is a dictator and a bully. You, Prime Minister Andrew Holness. You and Dr. Harris Chang and the Commissioner of Police. What? Are we to believe that you all are refurbishing Upper Camp to put some of the Jamaican citizens up there? Are you taking a revenge on the Jamaican state? And the governor of Jamaica, who has the ultimate power, the letter stated that if Corporal Rowan James wants to leave, he has to seek advice from the governor of Jamaica. So why is it that the governor of Jamaica, Sir Patrick Linton Allen, why you don't call a King's House talk? Or why you pick up the phone and call Andrew Holness and say, look here, Prime Minister, what you and the Commissioner of Police and the Minister of National Security going on with this damn nonsense? Why you can't do that? Are we to believe that you're seeking state power against Prime Minister to become a brutal dictator in this country? That's what we believe. And that's what we must believe. Huh?
That's what you have to believe. That's what is evident, you know, Jeffrey. But you know what I just thought about? What if all the men and women in the police force decide that they're not going to work? You can imagine that none of us would leave our house. Just think about it. What if tomorrow morning, as a result of this action, all the men and women in the JCF decide that they are going to have a sit-out?
And all the protective services who protect Andrew and all of them decide to say, okay, we're not coming to work. What would happen?
Can you just imagine how powerful that would be? But although I would leave my house, and I'm wondering if I would feel safe in it, what would happen? What would happen if that was the case? Because we have to send a strong message to the Prime Minister that this can't continue.
The military of Israel send a strong message to the Prime Minister and government of Israel, you know, Benjamin Netanyahu. The military said, okay, and they did not.
Anyway, I have so much faith in the Jamaican people. I tell you the truth, Jeffrey. Because the more the truth stare them down in the face, the more they make excuses and just brush it aside. People say them not gonna vote, and it not gonna make a difference if them vote. So if you make up your mind, you must remember that you are contributing to what is to come, because election have consequences. I believe that everybody has to get up now and do something. Start to say, me I go vote. I'm going to vote, and I am going to vote against the Jamaica Labour Party. Me not see them do anything. It only is a pity that me have to go vote with the PNP. But me have to go vote, and me can't sit down and me have said me can't depend on your program and talk about it. But me I go out there go vote. Me only hope that them come with something better. Me want to hear the spokesperson and Justice speaks about what they're gonna do. Me want to hear the plans for education. Me want to hear the plan for infrastructure. Me want to see a crime plan from the People's National Party. If the UCC were missing input out.
If the UIC can tell the people of Jamaica.
Well, me see him put out a statement today. If him could have shown me something substantial where him come with, and me have a candidate in my area, me not even give them a try. Me not tell no lie, but I am not going to sit back as a Jamaican and not vote in the next election. So there you go. I'm voting for the People's National Party. Is me right? Me can't support dictator. Can't support dictator, and that don't make me a PNP. It just means that me have vote against this level of brutishness that me say. Other than that, if you did have a better policy, Mr. Wellness, of course you could have get my vote. But you don't have nothing. Brother, you don't have nothing, brother. You don't bring nothing to the table yet, you know.
It is reported by them this year. And I think it's more. 1,400 Jamaicans were murdered in this country. And the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Michael Andrew Brogard Holness, said that he can make people sleep with the doors and windows open. And it's reported that by the end of this year, 1,400 Jamaicans are gunned down in this country.
Jeffrey, if you can make a promise like that, then you're basically telling me that you're the head of the gangs. You are the head of all of the undesirable players that are out there. Because the only way you could ever make we know that politicians make promissory statements that we know them not going to fulfill. But when you make utterance like that, you're irresponsible, and that shows your level of immaturity. It has to be collective security for surety. You have to run the new security profile where you want. It has to be done at a community level. Citizens have to come together with some of these what you call undesirable community gunmen and decide whether or not we're going to continue this way, or we're going to take an action like Haiti, where we're going rounding up and burning up because we need for the Jamaica prosper. Now, don't say loot charge promote violence, but if you can't hear, you have to go feel, because we are gonna get up every day and bella one cat here. And the boy them out there with the gun and them get badder and stronger, and we have to send a strong message. We want a Jamaica in which we can live, raise a family and do business. We want back our country. And brother, on is no Robin Hood. Right? When you go dance, I want to take the people them money pan line and I rob lick all people them America and all over the world with an all wicked, terrible self. A man a tear up 2,000, 5,000. You know how much hungry belly picnic in Jamaica that could have feed. You is no Robin Hood, madam. Right? One is a set of malignant cancer in the society. And communities must not protect you anymore because you have not protected the communities from which you once came. Right? Politicians are destroying our lives, and you are the people that they have employed to keep us in fear because you will take $5,000 to out my life. None of Una Robin Hood again. So at time phone forgot to pack phone bags to and go. We need the US to send a strong message to the government of Jamaica. Deal them a decisive blow. Because if Jamaicans we can't do it, I call on the Americans to put out the communication cable for all of them government ministers there who want to have eye span. Rid this country of them once and for all. I want to see you drag them to the Americas in chain. Because the Jamaican people, them we're too polarized in our politics. Me just said, I am not a member of the People's National Party. I have never been a member of the Jamaica Labour Party. I have no membership. I have no affiliation with them. But me talk to them. I go school with them and me talk to them. And some of them when I go school with me, shame at them. Me never know someone could have come sell out the country like how they sell it out. When we did that school, I be hungry. We used to talk about working to make this country better. And now when you gone in there and all you know are enriching yourself. When you go in there, somehow when you go in there and you never even have a piss pot to piss it. And when you drive BMW and I come stop at people foot I come talk about. You see when you're in the green or you see when you're in the orange party where you can't get, I pray on a crashing night. Me pray on a crashing night. Uno is a sellout. Uno is a sellout to the Jamaican people. No political party can ever get me to walk away from the commitment. Because you see, one of the things when we did love Jeffrey when Hungry killed me at primary school, we did always love the national pledge. Because it always encapsulates the hope that one day together, we the people can be better off. So me can't talk party politics. Cause I tell a man, when you come around me, there's no green, there's no red, there's no orange, there's no blue. We're all Jamaicans. right? My heart bleed tonight because to them I get a call to the little female police I feel pain and gone to Falmouth Hospital. And so I ask your audience to pray for her. I know that it's a rough time for her and her family. I know that we have been working behind the scenes to try to get her some help now that she's back in Jamaica. And I want to compliment people like Claudette Powell and Rupert Francis who continue to work on behalf of the diaspora. Um, me I beg some help for Rowan James legal team. Me want Rowan take them to court and me want drum up support. Jeffrey made like a protest that we can start a campaign to save Rowan James. Um, if we allow Rowan to suffer alone under the cronies of this administration, then we should be in a position to talk because Rowan today, Luke George tomorrow, and the list continue. Freedom of speech is threatened. The right to speak your mind is being threatened. And when you see anybody demonstrating that blatant disregard for those fundamental rights, it's time for everybody from every walk of life to get together and send a message to these people. It's time to go. We need a referendum to ask them to go.
Yes, sir.
You need to go. Brett, you need to go.
I'm gonna play
The whole administration need to go. Because let me tell you, everybody will sit down and allow, whether you are PNP, JLP, UPP, and Marcus Garvey, whether you are one of them, if you allow one member of your team to act out of character, the whole of you are guilty of the same crime. Because I'm not going to sit there in silence. If I not agree, I not agree with your brethren. And when me see going in a parliament the other day, it's all like when my mother said, "Oh, the son of pick me every time when I out the road and I make my belly button move." It was a clear example of a modern day dictatorship. Clear example.
I don't own the rights to this song, but this song is for this time. By Ernest Smith. You hearing it, Luke? Not hearing it.
No.
Hearing it now?
Yeah.
and as we fight one another for the power and the greed. The Make We Talk program owns no copyright to this song. But this
Powerful.
song,
Powerful.
as we
Right on the cutting edge.
in our country for the power and the greed. A nation where its people don't have freedom of speech. A nation where Corporal Rowan James, the chairman of the Police Federation, stand up for the men and women of the Police Federation. And this dictatorial government, led by the Prime Minister of this country, Michael Andrew Holness, and his Deputy Prime Minister, who is the Minister of National Insecurity, and his Commissioner of Police, has put out statements or letters, and we must believe that Corporal Rowan James has become an enemy of the Jamaican state. Because he has to give notice if he wants to leave the country. He has to seek permission from the Governor General of Jamaica. Corporal Rowan James came here by labor pain, not by Andrew Holness, nor his gangs in the Parliament of Jamaica. And this is what this country has come to. Where if you speak out against this government, you have to seek permission from the Governor General of Jamaica. You have to give a letter. If you're going to move from Timbuktu to go to Timbuktu, I have to give a letter of a next of kin. This is what Jamaica has become under Michael Andrew Holness. Prime Minister Holness, you know, sir, I expect better from me, sir. I expect better from you, Prime Minister Michael Andrew Holness. You have the power to call in the Commissioner of Police and the Minister. But it's proof to you, the proof to us rather, that you have a Rowan James in your crowd. It is a shame that you call yourself a Prime Minister and the same Corporal Rowan James introduced you to function and you did not acknowledge him. You did not acknowledge him at all. This is what this country has become under the leadership of the Jamaica Labour Party government. Our forefathers are rolling in their graves. Our freedom fighters are rolling in their graves tonight. Our freedom fighters who fought for this country are rolling in their graves. This is where this country has become. We're becoming a totalitarian country. Jamaica is becoming a totalitarian country run by Michael Brogard Andrew Holness. And his gangs in the Parliament consist of Daryl Vaz, James Roberts, and Mrs. Everall Warmington. Jamaica has become a dictatorship where you cannot speak for your fundamental rights. You don't have a freedom of speech. But I say to you all tonight, Andrew Holness, there's a God that sits high and look low. You the dance, don't trouble Zion. Don't trouble. Do not trouble Corporal Rowan James, because God will pour his wrath upon you. Michael Andrew Holness, stop trouble Corporal Rowan James. God is going to pour his wrath upon you. Don't trouble God, Pitney. You make the people of this country crying night after night, day after day. You and your gangs that you have in the parliament. How long shall the people suffer? How long shall fear rule over their people, over these people? How long? Look, George.
Is this my parting words?
You want to leave? You can leave. I'll stay and rent away by myself.
No, it's not that I have to leave because you have to rant and rave by yourself. It's that I am actively involved in something between the university hospital and some arrangements that have been made. And I'm trying to do both while I'm here. But look, if you want to stay and rant and rage, that's all right, Jeffrey. We just have to remember the concept of Ubuntu. It is the popular African phrase that says "I am because you are," and that we're caught in the inescapable web of mutuality. I think that we need to not just at this time talk, but we have to go start to walk the walk. And I'm looking forward to you organizing the blackout on injustice in Jamaica. And we can list them: education, health, and save Rowan James is the slogan. And we using it as a conversation piece. Everybody should get their black shirt. And we listed Jeffrey. We try to get the protest, a petition signed. We need signature board locally and overseas to get that going. Right. We need to get that going, Jeffrey. But let us do it this week when it still is in the mind of everybody that we're not sitting down and taking this. We are prepared to do what it is, and we need to have an advocate group to plan out series of both using social media and going out there. I don't know if it would be appropriate for us to do a GoFundMe group to help Rowan and the teacher at Tertius Golden High School with their legal funds. But I'd like for your robust participants tell us how we can do that. I'd like for us to organize an action so that we can make some good trouble, as John Lewis, because we talk, but what next? And the what next is, and I want us to be able to test the metal and of our mantra once we have done this, so that everywhere you look, you must see safe corporate Rowan James. We are taking Jamaica back from dictator and dictators and tyranny. And we list what we would want to see the improvement. So on the back of the shirt is on the front of it is Take Back Jamaica, Save Rowan James. On the back of it, our hopes and our hopes and aspiration, and let that be a conversation piece. We need some young, middle-aged and all group people setting up a social platform, call it the Save Jamaica campaign, and we encourage people to go up there, just as out there talking in your chat room, that they are to post their chat and their hope and their aspiration, and somebody to put the petition together for Rowan James, and also against the new proposed Bail Act. No more slavery, freedom for Jamaicans. Justice must be fair. Let's develop the slogans and start putting them out there. Do expect to get a kickback, as how we get kickbacks every so often. Do expect to get a kickback like how we get kickbacks so often, but let it not be our inaction that let them continue to perpetuate this wickedness that they are doing, but let it be our action. And we don't care which government is in power. We are going to stand up for brotherhood and peace, to work diligently and creatively, so that Jamaica under God will increase in her beauty. So it's now 10 o'clock, Jeffrey. I don't know how much longer you want us to go on.
11 o'clock, and that has been Luke George's final departing words from this program. And let us keep the fight going. Let us keep the fight going. Let us show them and let us tell them that Jamaica is a modern democracy. That we don't live in Xi Jinping China, or Vladimir Putin Russia, or the little rocket man North Korea. We live in Jamaica, and the last time we checked, it is a modern democracy. It is not a it's not a dictatorial state. Let me make this final call again to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister Michael Andrew Holness, stop trouble God Pitney. Leave Corporal Rowan James alone. Prime Minister Michael Andrew Holness, I am calling on you tonight, sir. Please, stop muzzled the people of this country mouth. In our constitution, it states that we have freedom of speech. Is it that you and Delroy Chuck are going to amend the constitution and stop the people from freedom of speech in this country? That is your plan, Prime Minister Holness? This is where I say so long from tonight. But we continue to fight for this blessed rock of ours. May God bless you. And no matter what we do, stand up for this rock. Stand up for Jamaica. For all those causes have been our concern. The cause goes on. For all those cares who have been our concern. The work goes on, the cause endure. The hope still lives, and the dream for a better Jamaica shall never die. Luke, thank you for coming on. May God bless you. May God bless Jamaica land we love. Until you hear this speak out again, remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Make We Talk Jamaica, to the Make We Talk Jamaica Virus YouTube channel. And let us continue to fight for this country. Let us show the gangs in the Parliament of Jamaica that we put them there and we can take them down. Whatever high horses they're riding on, the higher the monkey climb, the more he exposed. And I'm saying this tonight. God do not like ugly. And God gonna do a new thing in Jamaica. God is gonna shake Jamaica house. God is gonna shake King's house. God is gonna shake the Parliament of Jamaica. Be careful not doing to poor people in this country. Jamaicans rise up and stand up like the people of Israel, the people of Sri Lanka. Stand up, Jamaicans. God bless you all. Have a good night, everyone. Luke, you and I will talk. Thank you for coming on.
When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make we talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, make we talk. Hey, we're living in a world that on ourselves we must depend.